That is incredibly quiet. Welcome to the channel, guys. Today we're looking at another awesome suppressor from Ridgeback Defense. If you guys aren't aware, Ridgeback Defense is a newer suppressor company, but they've hit the market wide open, putting out some top tier suppressors. I've previously done a video on their Rhino X, which is their 5.56K can made entirely of Inconel, and was thoroughly impressed with it. Turned out to be one of the quietest 5.56 suppressors that I'd ever shot, and it was just a little 5-inch K can. On top of that, all of Ridgeback Defense's suppressors have reduced back pressure qualities built into it. Typically that means you're giving up a little bit of sound suppression for a little less gas to the face. But in the case of Ridgeback Defense, it seems like they found that secret sauce to give you a really quiet suppressor while still being a reduced back pressure suppressor, which is the holy grail of suppressors that we've been looking for years now. If you guys haven't seen it yet and you're interested in checking out that Rhino X video, I'll put a card up on the screen. Go ahead and finish watching this video, but if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you check out that Rhino X video. That really is a very impressive 5.56 suppressor. So you can imagine I've got pretty high expectations for the suppressor we're looking at today, which is the Ridgeback Defense Sahara 300. The Sahara 300 is optimized for 300 Blackout, and guys, if you watch the channel, you know we absolutely love Subsonic 300 Blackout on this channel. So I'm really looking forward to checking this suppressor out. I'm really hoping I haven't set my expectations too high, but I've got a lot of faith in Ridgeback Defense with my prior experience with the Rhino X. I'm hoping we're going to have another killer suppressor here, so be sure to stay tuned and we're going to find out. Now, even though it's optimized for 300 Blackout, it's still designed to perform really well with 7.62x39, 308, and many other calibers. So in this video we'll test that out. Of course we're going to start off with 300 Blackout, and guys, I've built a special 300 Blackout carbine from the ground up specifically designed around this suppressor. I haven't shot it yet. We'll take the first shots in this video, so hopefully everything goes well with that. Then we'll test it out on 7.62x39 through short barreled AK. Might as well throw it on a 5.56 gun, see how it's going to perform with 5.56. Then we'll test it out and see how it does with 6.5 Creedmoor. So be sure to stay tuned. I'm really excited to see how the Ridgeback Defense Sahara 300 performs. Before we dive in, I need to give a quick shout out to my channel members. I really do appreciate you guys. Your all support means the world to me. If you're watching this and you're interested in becoming a member, just hit the join button beneath the video. Alright guys, before we head out to the range, I'll go over all the specs and features of the Sahara 300 real quick. One thing I've got to mention right off the bat is how dead sexy this suppressor looks. I really love the design of the Ridgeback Defense suppressors. I think they look awesome with the dimples. And of course, they've integrated some notches back here at the rear of the suppressor so that in the event that your can's carbon locked onto your muzzle device, you've got something that you can put a tool on to break that suppressor loose. I really like seeing that on suppressors. If you've ever had a can carbon locked onto a muzzle device, then I'm sure you can appreciate that as well. I'll roll in some close-up footage of this suppressor to show you just how gorgeous this can is. I got my Sahara 300 in flat dark earth to match the build that I put together for this suppressor. And the Cerakote on this can looks excellent. They did a really good job. Another thing you're going to notice while we're taking a look at it is that end cap design. You'll see the vents around the perimeter of the end cap. That plays with the reduced back pressure system to help vent some of that excess gas out the front of the suppressor. Not only does the Ridgeback Defense suppressors reduce the back pressure to your gun, they also do it while being quite a bit quieter than most other suppressors on the market. Even traditional full back pressure suppressors. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Now before we dive on into the specs, I do need to let you guys know Ridgeback Defense did provide the Sahara 300 to the channel so I could check it out and show it to you guys. They are a Kentucky company, so there could be some bias here. I'm going to say there's none, but I am a huge fan of the company. Huge fan of the suppressors that I've tested so far. You guys will get to hear for yourself how this suppressor performs, and in a future video we'll actually do some comparisons between some 30 caliber suppressors, and the Sahara 300 will definitely be a part of that. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you go ahead and subscribe with all notifications. You're not going to want to miss that video. Guys, I'm fighting a little bit of a cold, so if you hear a little bit of wheezing on my part, I apologize. Let's go ahead and jump into the specs of the Sahara 300. The Sahara 300 is 6.75 inches long, and it's that perfect 1.75 inches in diameter. This is a fully 3D printed suppressor made entirely of titanium, so it comes in at a nice lightweight 11 ounces. Being that it is made entirely of titanium, you could probably expect some sparks out of the end of the can. You just kind of have to expect that with titanium. It's something you give up to have such a lightweight can. The Sahara 300 is full auto rated. Ridgeback recommends staying under 5 full mags of Subsonic 300 Blackout in under 1 minute, and stay under 3 full mags of Supersonic 300 Blackout in under 1 minute. Meaning if you run that many magazines back to back full auto, you're going to want to give the can a cool down period before continuing. The only barrel restrictions listed are 4.5 inches. I assume that's for Subsonic 300 Blackout. It does feature hub threading for its mount, which is the industry standard threading, 1.375 by 24. That means the Sahara 300 will accept all of your industry standard mounts, Q Plan B, Griffin Plan A, Dead Air Chemo, Zemo. All of your industry standard mounts will work in the Sahara 300. It does have a muzzle device depth of 1.7 inches, so just make sure your muzzle device doesn't extend past the mount 1.7 inches and you should be good to go. The end cap does feature a built-in flash hider, and like I mentioned earlier, this is a reduced back pressure suppressor, so it's designed to take the excess pressure from the gunshot and expel some of that out the front end of the can. Somehow Ridgeback Defense has optimized this for 300 Blackout subs, which is a really difficult task. 300 Blackout subs are really low pressure, and flow-through suppressors tend to work best with higher pressure rounds. It's got more pressure to push that gas forward through the reduced back pressure features of the suppressor and out the front of the can. With 300 Blackout subs, it's a low pressure round, so you don't have a lot of force pushing that gas out the front of the can. In a lot of cases with 300 Blackout subs, you can still get some of that gas back to the face. It'll be really interesting to see how well the Sahara 300 does in that aspect. If you're looking for a suppressor that's optimized for higher pressure rounds like 308 and such, Ridgeback Defense does have their Sahara 762, which is different from the Sahara 300. The 300 being optimized for low pressure 300 Blackout, but will still perform pretty good on 308 and such. The Sahara 762 is optimized for higher pressure 308 and such. So either way you go, Ridgeback Defense has got a can that's optimized for your needs. Alright guys, that's the specs and features of the Sahara 300. Let's get this suppressor mounted up, head out to the range, and see how it performs. Alright guys, we made it out to the range with the Sahara 300, and this is my new 300 Blackout build I was telling you all about, that I built specifically to go with this can. You can see it's a really beautiful peanut butter build, all FDE. And as you can tell from that muzzle device, this gun hasn't had a single round put through it yet. So you guys will get to see the first shots through this gun and this suppressor in this video. Now this gun's a little bit unique. It's running a shorter buffer tube, a short CAC buffer tube. It's shorter than a mil-spec buffer tube, so it uses a little tiny buffer. And I'm running the Magpul SLM, which is a shortened version of the SLK. I am running a 300 Blackout specific Tubbs flat wire buffer spring in this gun. Hopefully everything goes good. We're about to find out. I'll start out shooting it unsuppressed so we can compare the unsuppressed shot with the suppressed shot. Alright, 220 grain round unsuppressed. And we did not cycle. It kicked the fired round out but did not chamber a new round. One more round unsuppressed. Again, it kicked out the spent round but did not load a new round. Now we'll go ahead and attach our Sahara 300. This is a reduced back pressure suppressor, but hopefully it gives me just enough back pressure to make this gun cycle reliably. I'll be running a Plan B compatible Echo machine mount, and you'll see I'm running a Q rear end muzzle device. This is like their cherry bomb, but it has flats on the back end. All right, we're still running the 220 grain subs. We've got our Sahara 300 mounted up. Hopefully it'll cycle now. Still no cycle, so we're not getting nowhere near enough back pressure back. But man, what an incredible sounding shot. That was insanely quiet. Let's take another shot. That is incredibly quiet, guys. Very, very quiet. All right, let's do another one. That is so incredibly quiet. Hopefully that's coming across on video just how quiet this is. Damn. Man, I wished it would cycle. Very, very quiet. Alright, I've got a magazine loaded with 5 supers and 5 subs. Let's go ahead and shoot some 300 Blackout supers through the Sahara 300. These should cycle just fine, and we'll get to compare them to the 220 grain subs. And there was our sub, and there was our sub. Very, very comfortable with both supers and subs. No discomfort whatsoever while shooting those supersonic rounds. The subs are just cartoonishly quiet. I really hope that's coming across on the video as quiet as it actually is. Alright, so unfortunately my little peanut butter build here won't cycle subs at the moment. I'll go ahead and get that tuned up for its own independent video in the future. Be sure to watch out for that video. I'll do a complete overview of this build. But I did notice, along with sounding excellent with 300 Blackout subs, it sounded really nice with those 300 Blackout supers. So I went ahead and loaded up a full mag of Supersonic 300 Blackout. So let's go ahead and run that through it now. God, that sounds good. This cam performs really well with 300 Blackout supers. That gives me a lot of hope for 7.62 by 39, 308, etc. Until I get the new lighter weight buffer in and get this gun tuned up for subs, unfortunately this is just going to be a Supersonic only gun for right now. But guys, drop down in the comments and let me know how sexy is this build. And it looks really nice with that Sahara 300 suppressor. So to run a few more Subsonic 300 Blackout, I broke out my 300 Blackout Jackal. It's also an FDE and looks really nice with that FDE Sahara 300. Let's go ahead and cycle some 300 Blackout subs through this gun. Alright, 220 grain subs, 300 Blackout PSA Jackal, Ridgeback Defense Sahara 300. Really, really quiet. This can sounds amazing with 300 Blackout subs. It sounds great with 300 Blackout supers. Really curious how it's going to sound on some of these other calibers. Right now it sounds so good with 300 Blackout subs. I want to get the quietest possible setup I could get. I'm going to grab my bolt action 300 Blackout. We'll throw it on that gun and see just how quiet we can get. Now we'll try it on the 300 Blackout bolt action. This is my custom 300 Blackout. It's a Howa 1500 Mini 300 Blackout action, cut down to a 9-inch barrel and dropped into an MDT LSS chassis. Really quiet gun. 300 Blackout bolt action, about as quiet as you can get. And you might notice I've got another suppressor mounted up. I figured we'd go ahead and give it a little something to compare it against. This is one of my absolute quietest 30 caliber suppressors. And no, it's not a Dead Air Nomad. This is a Form 1 clone of a Dead Air Nomad. It only shares an exterior appearance with the Dead Air Nomad. It's got a completely different baffle core. And I would say this can's quieter than a Dead Air Nomad, though some might argue that. But it's a very quiet 30 caliber can. And if you guys have been around the channel long, you all have heard it on this gun, and you know it sounds very, very quiet. So we'll go ahead and compare that against the Sahara 300. And you can see there's quite a bit of a size difference. They're both 1.75 inches in diameter. So to start out, we'll put a couple rounds of 220 grain Subsonic 300 Blackout through this can. Then we'll swap it out, throw the Sahara 300 on, and I'll try to put the clips side by side to give you guys a really good comparison. Alright, Nomad clone. Silly quiet. Alright, super quiet. It's going to be really hard to beat. Let's get the Sahara 300 mounted up. You'll see this gun's running a Griffin Armament minimalist brake taper mount. So I've swapped the mount out in my Sahara 300 to a Griffin Plan B mount. You guys are always asking about mounts, so that's why I'm taking the time to explain each mount to you all. And now we've got the Sahara 300 mounted up. Doesn't look bad. Should be standing in the exact same spot. Let's see how it does. Sounded really good. That's really quiet. I don't know if I could tell that it's any quieter. It's at least just as quiet, if not a little quieter. My Nomad clone can is a full back pressure suppressor, so it's maximized to be as quiet as possible. So the fact that this reduced back pressure suppressor can even hang with it is pretty impressive. I'm almost going to say it's quieter. I got to listen to them back to back. Man, that sounds so good. That's comically quiet. I'll be very interested to listen to those suppressors back to back. I really can't tell much of a sound difference. I would really need them back to back right here in front of me to really spot a difference. I want to say they're equally as quiet, but the Sahara 300 seems to have a more pleasant tone. It's really hard to say without listening to them back to back. You guys drop down in the comment section. Let me know what you think's quieter. By the time I edit the video, I'll have the clips back to back, so you'll be able to tell a lot better than I can right now. Alright, now that I've worn it out with 300 Blackout, let's move on and check it out on 7.62 by 39. Alright, now we'll try the Sahara 300 on this 10.5 inch 7.62 by 39 AK. I'm running a J-Mac muzzle device on this gun that accepts 1.375 by 24 suppressors directly threaded onto it. So we don't need a mount. The Sahara 300 will thread directly on to that muzzle device. Alright, I'm loaded up with 123 grain supers, and the last 5 rounds will be subs. The Subsonic rounds will not cycle. I'll definitely have to hand cycle the subs, but we'll get to see what they sound like. Alright, 7.62 by 39. Alright, let me pop an air off, see how that sounds. Oh yeah, that sounds every bit as good as 300 Blackout supers, so I'll go ahead and shoot this without ears. Don't do that at home. And now we should be down to the subs. Yeah, really quiet. And of course it didn't cycle. Silly quiet. Very, very, very pleasant. Alright, the Sahara 300 sounds excellent with 7.62 by 39, both supers and subs. I'm very impressed with this suppressor. It's definitely met or exceeded all my expectations. I absolutely love this suppressor. Alright, now we'll try the Sahara 300 out on a 10.3 inch 5.56. This should be a pretty good test for it. Alright, 10.3 inch 5.56. Really nice. Let me take an ear off. Yeah, that ain't bad. No ringing whatsoever in the ears. I definitely don't recommend shooting without ear pro, guys. The only reason I do it in videos is to convey how quiet a suppressor is. And if it does ring my ears or anything, I would let you guys know. Absolutely no ringing whatsoever. The very loudest part about that was the bullet hitting the steel plate. The bullet hitting the steel is a much more uncomfortable sound than the gunshot itself through the Sahara 300. This can definitely sounds really good on 5.56 as well. Alright guys, now we're mounted up on a 6.5 Creedmoor. This is a PSA M110 clone. Really accurate gun. If you haven't seen the video on this, be sure to check it out. But in this video, we're not concerned with accuracy. We're just concerned with how this Sahara 300 sounds on it. I've got to get a little stingy with ammo, guys. I'm only going to put 5 rounds through it. I don't want this video to run on forever. And I pay for all my own ammo, and it gets extremely expensive. Hopefully one of these days we can pick up a ammo sponsor for the channel. But until that day, I'm footing the bill. And I use all the support that I get from you guys using my affiliate links, my discount codes, and becoming channel members. So really appreciate you guys. You guys help keep the guns fed. So be sure to continue using those discount codes because they save you money anyway. So why not use the discount code? Let's see how the Sahara 300 sounds on this 6.5 Creedmoor. Any bets on if I could hit that 10-inch plate at 240 yards standing? Highly, highly doubt it. Alright, no dice on the plate, but daggum, the can sounds really good. Now keep in mind, the Sahara 300 is optimized for 300 Blackout, though as you just heard, it performs really well with 6.5 Creedmoor and larger calibers. But if you want optimized performance for those larger calibers, you want the Sahara 7.62. It'll be optimized for 308, your higher pressure cartridges, while still being able to perform really well with 300 Blackout. Alright guys, I'll go ahead and give you my final thoughts on the Sahara 300. Man, I'm in love with this can. Definitely one of the best 30 caliber suppressors that I've had the pleasure to fool with. This and the Ridgeback Defense Overwatch 7.62, really top-notch 30 caliber suppressors. I'm still very shocked that Ridgeback Defense and Ridgeback Defense are able to make these cans as quiet as they are while still being reduced back pressure. That's a really great engineering feat. They're taking suppressors to the next level. It's really incredible what these two Kentucky companies have been able to do. I'm a huge fan, and I definitely recommend checking out some of their suppressors. I know a lot of you guys already have and have reported back that you're really happy with the suppressor and it exceeded all your expectations. Really glad to hear that. It's tough to come on here and state something emphatically and then somebody go out and purchase that product and not be happy with it. That's my worst nightmare. I don't ever want that to happen. If I tell you guys something's good, or in a case of a suppressor, something sounds really good, I hope that you can trust my word and be happy if you go out and purchase that product. Now, I'm not affiliated with these companies in any way. I don't make any money from any sales. Doesn't affect me whatsoever if you guys buy them or don't buy them. if you're interested in my opinion, I think this is the very best suppressor on the market for 300 Blackout. It's optimized for that cartridge. Really surprised it's able to keep the gas out of your face with that low pressure round. And you're not getting a can that only sounds good on 300 Blackout. It also performs excellently with 7.62 by 39 Supers, 300 Blackout Supers, 6.5 Creedmoor. I'd argue it's quieter on 6.5 Creedmoor than a lot of full back pressure suppressors. If you're looking for a really good all-around suppressor, go check it out. Hopefully we'll be getting another Ridgeback Defense suppressor to check out on the channel. I'm supposed to be getting their new Roadie 6, which has got a lot of hype behind it. Another suppressor I've got really high expectations for. Really looking forward to checking it out. So be sure to stay tuned for that video. I'm sure it'll be sometime in the new year, but definitely excited to check out that suppressor. Ridgeback Defense knocks it out of the park again with the Sahara 300. I have no doubt they're going to do it with the Roadie 6. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. If you guys have any questions at all, don't ever hesitate to ask. I try to reply to every comment. I have links in the description to my X, Rumble, Instagram, and Facebook accounts. So be sure to give me a follow on those platforms as well. I could really use your all support. If you're not subscribed to the channel here on YouTube or Rumble, go ahead and give me a subscribe. Be sure to check all notifications so you don't miss a video. Guys, if you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Be safe, be dangerous, and be sure to catch me on the next video.